We're looking at September 15th on our calendars here for what could be a major strike here from the UAW. And based on the language we're hearing, we saw the head of the UAW literally throw Ford's contract proposal in a garbage can last week. Are we going to see a strike?
So I'm talking with members every day because they're my neighbors. This is members of the UAW, these hardworking men and women who work so hard in our factories, physical labor, dedicated labor, and what they're asking for is a fair contract. And as a member of Congress representing Southeastern Michigan, so many incredible people who are tied to our auto industry, I'm pushing for open negotiations, fair conversations, and an outcome to this. I obviously ethically can't get in the middle of this, so I don't want to be making projections. But I'll say this, the UAW has voted to authorize a strike. They've taken it to that line. My first year in Congress, we had a strike for similar things that we're seeing in the conversation today about the tiered wage system, about contract labor, when people get access to benefits. And look, I was at the table during the U.S. auto rescue period. I was an appointee in the Obama administration serving as Steve Ratner's chief of staff. And that was 14 years ago. The UAW and the automakers made incredible concessions, but it's just the UAW that has been beholden to those concessions, while the auto companies have made billions in profit. And so what we want to see is deal workers in. We pass laws to ensure this transition to electric vehicles, zero emissions for the auto industry. We've got to make sure that workers have a piece of that profit and the transition that justifies the dignity of their work.
Congresswoman, as you read the tea leaves, I'm sure you saw what the president had to say on it yesterday. I want your reaction. Take a listen.
Mr. President, are you worried about an auto strike?
Okay, so what he said there was that he doesn't think there's going to be a strike. But then this was the more interesting part. UAW President Shawn Fain then came out and told the Detroit News he must know something we don't know. Talking about the president, our intent is not to strike, but as we get down to the wire here, there's 3 companies to bargain with and there's 10 days left. So do it. So I know what it looks like to me. How difficult of a position is this for the Biden administration, given the fact that we've heard Shawn Fain complain a lot about the move to EVs from this administration, which has given out subsidies and grants to these companies to build battery plants and the likes?
Well, I don't think Mr. Fain is complaining. I think he's pointing out a reality, which is Congress can pass the laws, the president can sign them, and the companies are certainly taking advantage of them. But the negotiations that are taking place have got to deal workers in. I was with Mr. Fain for a good majority of a very hot and exciting Labor Day in downtown Detroit yesterday. It was really a remarkable day. You had all of our labor unions represented, so many people out there marching, excited, and certainly this was on people's minds. And I think what Mr. Fain is saying here, which I received this button yesterday, it was being passed out at the Labor Day parade in Detroit, which members are saying, I don't want to strike, but I will if I have to. And what we are going to see, I think, unfold in this last week, a lot of steady hands, a lot of long nights, a lot of back and forth here to get this deal. But we need to move the UAW into the 21st century. Mr. Fain, who I believe is got a vision for the UAW, a vision for growing labor, making sure that not just the dignity of work, but the workplace protections, the things that are coming down the pipe are put into place. And that's what will make more auto workers who maybe aren't organized yet want to join the UAW, vote to unionize their plant.
Well, it strikes me then to be a congresswoman from Detroit. The only worst thing about this strike starting in the middle of September here is a government shutdown coming at the end of the month. And that is what we are hearing is a possibility, Congresswoman. We spoke to you about that before. And I wonder, now that lawmakers are coming back, I realize the House not until next week. We're looking at what a total of, I believe, 12 legislative days to solve this. Realizing there could be a short-term solution, are we going to see a shutdown this year?
Yeah, you're so spot on that it is crunch time in September. It's going to be a busy month, but my sleeves are rolled up, and this is the job that I signed up for. And I'll say this, I'm really disappointed in talk of a government shutdown. We cannot be operating like this. This is antics that have come from the other side of the aisle time and time again. Throughout the last 2 decades. And I was sworn in as a member of Congress in the middle of the longest government shutdown in history that was inherited by a Republican supermajority. And we all care about the fiscal solvency of this nation. We all care about the effective utilization of the taxpayer dollar. But don't turn your backs on the American people by doing a shutdown. It's so damaging to our economy and, frankly, to the functionality of our government. There is shared government right now. That means compromise. We have negotiated a budget deal. We should vote on it. I am prepared to get that done. I really don't want to see us enter into a shutdown. And frankly, I want to have us not be legislating from crisis to crisis, but seizing hold of opportunities and moments that we have to lead as the United States of America on the global stage, not from behind because we've decided to shut down our government.
Is it your understanding that there will be a vote at some point before September 30th on a continuing resolution?
There better be some sort of vote that doesn't shut down the government. And a continuing resolution is very standard. That has been the traditional way that I have seen budgets voted in during my terms in Congress, in particular, because big federal budgets take a long time to negotiate. We do them on an annual basis. We start early, but it usually concludes at the end of the year. So the fiscal year ends September 30th. If we don't have a continuing resolution or a budget passed, we will shut down. Not appropriate. A continuing resolution gives us breathing room. I certainly would vote for a continuing resolution, and I would like to see us pass our budget by the end of the year, if that's the case.